Hello and welcome to an exciting brand new episode of Bodied. I'm your host Havocus as always. I'm joined by Frozen Creek.
Yes, I have set down teamfight tactics for the week, and I apologize for the sound that might happen in the background. The trash guy is driving by, so he picked the most opportune time. But yes, I've set down teamfight tactics for the week, and I am appearing for you guys. So
Impossible. No one can walk away from teamfight tactics.
I have literally just played that for the past week.
It's
I
really
have,
fun. It's hard to put down.
yeah, I played one ARAM about a week ago today, and everything else has been teamfight tactics. So if you have not played, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I've usually been getting around like top 5 to top 3.
I have been doing pretty well since I've been reading a bunch about it and such. Just today I had a 3-game winning streak. I just like one, and then I won like 2 or 3 more yesterday. So
I have yet to win.
I'm either playing a shit ton or I'm not that bad anymore. But it took me like 4 days to win.
Yeah. Well,
but this is not a teamfight tactics podcast yet because
sadly, no.
We don't have anyone signed up. But there is a tournament happening tomorrow. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
When is it?
I think it's just all day. It looks like, I think it said Scar was going to be in it, and then Hafu or Heifu or whatever her name is, and then I don't know. It's not important, but that's happening on the 4th, and this will be posted before the 4th, so I can say tomorrow.
Yes. Well, we should jump right into it. A quick Rainbow Six update. The team is still crushing it in the R6 Pro League. Recently, they just beat Team UR. Both victories were they were 7-3 and 7-2, so still crushing it. You can actually catch them as well as the Rocket League team, the 5th through the 7th at DreamHack Valencia. So,
ooh.
If you want to see our Rainbow Six boys in action, which it's been difficult, I assume, for a lot of Cloud9 fans since they're in Korea a lot of the times, or they're playing at like really early hours in the morning. But you can now probably see them at a reasonable hour and watch them play.
All right, I might take you up on that.
I'm really excited to see them play just because I have not seen hide nor hair of them really.
Is that a joke?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just a term.
I wasn't. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was a Rainbow Six joke or not.
No, it wasn't.
I never played it.
Be, okay. Though. There should have a character named Hyde and Hair, so that way it would work. Get on it, Rainbow Six developers. Resurrect Tom Clancy from the dead. Make it happen.
Is Rainbow Six free? I doubt it.
No, it's not. And I think there's like a special package that you can get so you can get all of the heroes. But I'm not a fan of it. I played it a little bit, but it was one of those deals where it's just like, there's too much stuff going on. This is dumb. I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never played it. It looks like the Vegas edition is $4.
Imagine like Counter-Strike, but they're like, it has like Overwatch type thing where all the characters have different abilities, and it's like twice as frustrating.
So like, okay, I'll trust you on that one because CS:GO is already frustrating enough.
Yeah, when you have to layer on top like special abilities and loadouts and stuff, it gets a lot more frustrating.
All right,
but moving on, we had a very special announcement last night, and that was that Cloud9 had finally done a big heckin' roster change with CS:GO. On the nines, Valens and Jack came on to announce the new roster, and it's one that everyone's excited about. It has Automatic, who is the mainstay. Rush has been moved to the bench, and sort of rounding out the roster, you have Daps, Tens, Mixwell, and Kusta, along with Coach James IRL. And Valens is going to finally be moving over to that sort of data analytics role that he's always wanted to do, but couldn't because everyone keeps needing him to coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was the rumored roster for the most part going into it, so I don't think anybody's too surprised.
I
But
think the only surprising change was that no one expected Mixwell to also join and have Rush be moved to the bench. I think that was the only thing that everyone was kind of
yes,
surprised about.
yes, I'm still surprised that Rush got benched, but hopefully it becomes like a League of Legends meme and he comes back strong because I really like Rush.
Rush is a good dude. I'm kind of not surprised considering he has been like very inconsistent for a while. So it's not the biggest surprise that he got benched. I'm hoping that he can maybe improve. But looking at the roster at hand, I think that this has a lot of potential, and I think that I don't want to be like too hopeful, just because rosters can go bad, which we've known. But I think that this probably has the highest ceiling of that we can actually go to because Tens is everyone's saying is the next coming of Stewie. Um, Everyone else on the team is very experienced and they have played a lot. So I'm hoping that everything can gel together. So it should be a pretty good roster, at least on paper. I'm curious to see what they will look like once they start playing together and start trying to cohese.
Oh yeah, I I'm really excited for Tens. He's young and a talent, which is cool to see. And I love the story that Jack told on the nines last night about his mom coming with him to check out everything out.
Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah, that was cute. I think overall it is exactly kind of what we were hoping for. Like rather than just putting a meal roster together, like trying to
No,
build
it's
something
definitely what we
that will
needed.
last.
I think myself as well as a bunch of other C9 fans for a while have been saying just go scorched earth, ditch Golden because we've been holding out for Golden because he's having so many medical issues that it's like, well, Golden deserves time, but the fact that he hasn't been performing well and Vice as well was not working out, and Cajun was kind of there, everyone just saying, go scorched earth, build everything around Tim and just make him look better. And I
Yeah,
think that's exactly what C9 is doing.
yeah. I think it was definitely the right PR move at the very least. I do think that even from a CS:GO perspective, like this team does have potential to be even a top 10 team in the world at some point if they stick together and get it working. But obviously that's probably 6 months away at the earliest. So, but
Yeah, I would
I feel
say I would say hold
hopeful
out
for
for
once.
probably a year just to see how this roster works out. But I think with the potential they have, I think it totally can. Also, for those curious when exactly the shiny new roster will play, next week, July 13th and 14th, they will be at the Blast Pro Series LA. So if you're in the Los Angeles area or you want to really catch the boys on stage, tune into that stream next week, and they will be playing at that event.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see them. Obviously, I wouldn't expect too much from them just because they just got
No,
announced. So
yeah, they
they're
would probably only have like a week of practice.
yeah, maybe 2 or 3 if they held that announcement a while, but still, that's not
Yeah,
very long for a brand new team.
yeah. I'm gonna keep my expectations low for the meantime, just until they've played more than a few weeks. But hopefully the team can do good and they get started in the right direction again.
Yeah, and I think I speak for everyone, just saying that that everyone's hopeful because this was what we wanted. This is what we kind of needed because what we were doing and how we performed in the last major qualifier was not okay or acceptable.
Oh yeah, for sure. How like them losing to like Quest and Identity is just like that's inexcusable. And I think that after that, it's like okay, this is the point where you're rock bottom. Things need to change. But
Yeah, just
luckily,
fix your shit.
yeah, luckily the org recognized this and was like, okay, we're going to do things now. Don't worry.
Yeah, it took a minute, but I guess that's to be expected when players are on contract elsewhere. So it worked out in the end.
Yeah, but I think we've milked CS:GO enough for all it's worth. Let's move on to Overwatch and my disappointment of the London Spitfire. They went 0-8 last week, Frozen. They got crushed by both the Valiant and the Shock. It was very hard to
I'm
watch.
gonna tell you right now that's not ideal.
It's it's not. They're in a very precarious position where they will, if they continue to play like they have been, they probably won't get to the seasonal playoffs.
Well, they're still in a decent position to get there. They are. Wait, how does that work out? The Shanghai Dragons have 11 wins. London has 12, but yet they're in the playoffs and we're not.
Yeah, don't ask me how it works.
We've also played 2 more games than them, so maybe
Yeah, it's based also on map differential. So since we've played more
we
games,
have
the
a better
Shanghai would have a
their
better map differential.
their map differentials +1 and ours is +6.
Then I have no idea how.
It's there must be something I'm missing, but we
Yeah.
probably out for this stage though.
Oh yeah, we're out for the stage for sure. In terms of the season playoffs, we can. There's a not like I think maybe like a decent probability we can still get in, but that's going to depend on a lot of factors. Mostly, it's going to depend on the team playing very well in stage 4, and all the other teams not playing as good.
Well, we're only a game or so out of the playoffs right now, so I'm not too worried about the end of stage four right now. I think if we're looking for anything hopeful, what's this a position lock thing that they're talking about for
So,
stage 4?
and the Overwatch League has not made anything official yet, but it is heavily rumored and been discussed that for stage 4, there is going to be a positional role lock. Everyone is sick of seeing goats because that's all we see. It's these weird like 3-3 comps and whatnot. So they're going to do a 2-2-2 lock, which you basically just have 2 players play like you can have 2 tanks, you have 2 TBS, and then 2 healers, and that's it gets locked into that state. Similar to I guess like kind of like League of Legends, somewhat where you have like certain champions are meant for certain roles, and so you just stick to those roles, kind of.
I think as a purely London fan, it's very good for us. Obviously we won last season based off of our 2-2-2 play, but I think as kind of a fan of esports and stuff, it kind of sucks because I do like to be able to see things change and evolve over time. And by locking it into 2-2-2, like you're kind of locking one meta in where it's going to be like Widow and Tracer and then
Well,
Zenyatta
to
and
to counter sort of that point, that's sort of what what the Overwatch League has really just been doing. They just haven't put any harsh restrictions on it. How Blizzard has balanced the game. Last season it was all about 2-2-2, and that's all anyone ever played. But then going to this season, everyone just played goats, and that's all they ever played. So it's not like there wasn't a lot of creativity composition wise to begin with. There was some outliers and some different comps, but for the most part, all the teams were playing just one singular compositional variation. And I think maybe Blizzard also felt, well, we're not really displaying all the heroes that we have to offer. If we're seeing Reinhardt being played like every single map, that's that's kind of a problem, and we're seeing this one composition every single map. That's not entertaining, especially with how Goats is played, where it's more of this strategical thing of hitting each other and gaining ult charge and trying to like swap ults and see who gets the upper hand. Strategically, that's a very like really awesome thing, but to watch it gets very boring because it's just I'm watching people just kind of sit here and hit each other. Where are the widow snipes? Where is the tracer pickoffs and things like that? It's taking a lot of stuff from the game, and you're just trading stuff more or less. I think that I kind of welcome it just because it's a change of pace and it's something that is a lot different, and I think it's something that is more easy to process when watching than versus all the Goats crap that we've been seeing for the last like 3 stages.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it in a way, but like, it kind of sucks just due to the fact that it's not going to evolve in the same way. But I guess it is kind of limited since you're right, everyone does kind of play the same kind of comps throughout the stages once the
No,
meta is like set.
and I completely understand where you're coming from. Like Overwatch specifically is a game where when you're playing a map, you're sort of evolving as the game goes on. So you're kind of changing up your composition throughout. And with these changes, it's limiting what the game was sort of intended to. But again, when you look back at it, how the game is being balanced, it's restricting play anyway for what is quote unquote the most ideal. So Blizzard's kind of already going against what they've kind of believed for their game. And it's also an issue of balancing pro play and regular play. And we've seen this issue with League of Legends where certain champions won't get touched or they will get touched, based on factors of pro player or regular play, and those things can often clash. And I think this is just another example of that.
Yeah, and maybe it is kind of a short-term fix to just to try and hold it in while they try to fix it. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully so. I would assume that by next season they may make some changes to better alleviate what they've been struggling with this season.
Yeah, here's to hoping, because didn't they try between stage 1, 2, and 3, and we're still at Goats.
Yeah, they even remember after like stage 1, they even had this whole segment on like the pregame show, where they had this whole ceremony where they were saying bye to Goats and it wasn't going to be there anymore. But then come stage 2, everyone was still playing Goats, and it's just like, well, now you just look silly for having this whole segment.
Yeah, and now we're in stage 3, and it's has barely evolved.
Yeah, pretty much. But going back to London Spitfire for a second. So 222 lat can't help, but Frozen, what else do you think needs to happen? Because I think that to the core, London has just been struggling with coordination. Jester's been struggling on the Rhine, but now he's going to be at Winston, which is much more comfortable. But I think there is still just this disconnect that London seems to have between the front line and the back line, where the front line wants to do one thing, but there's not enough healing coming in, so Jester dies. And since there's not enough healing coming in, also our other players are getting picked off and dying, and so we're not just staying alive long enough. We're trying to do these EMP plays, which when you're playing the Sombra composition and you have EMP, that's essentially a free win. You see it all the time with other top teams. But there is something fundamentally wrong when our team is doing these Sombra plays or these Earth Shatter plays, and we're getting absolutely no pickoffs. That's bad. That's a sign of a bad team, I think, when you're having these free win ultimates that other teams are doing very effectively, but when you try it, you can't get anything out of. I think that's bad, and I think there's something wrong that needs to be corrected somehow within the team. Um, so I guess I'm curious, what else do you think needs to sort of happen within the team between stages for us to have a better shot at doing well in stage 4?
Yeah, honestly, to me, it sounds or it seems kind of like a practice issue. Like it's not something that they've executed enough in practice to be confident doing it on stage. And if they've done it enough in practice, then they're just not confident enough, or they're not in sync enough on stage to to be prepared to pull off healing combos and stuff like that. So, and maybe it is just nerves of some sort, but that they did it just fine it last split. So that
Yeah,
would,
I think
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's an issue of both coaching and players. I think that there's a disconnect between what the coaching staff is trying to do and what the players are wanting to do. So the coaching staff has failed in trying to get the team to improve and to play better. And I think the players have failed in that they're not taking what the coaches say and also trying to improve themselves. It seems more like they're still playing the same way that they've been playing despite everything that's happening around them. You know, they're failing to capitalize on Earthshatter plays. Well, why is that? You know, they're not recognizing that, and I think that that's just a failure. I would imagine, at least in my point of view, if stage 4 does not go well, I would expect some changes, but I don't want to necessarily talk about that just yet, since we still have a stage to go, and there's big changes coming within the game or the league. So we still have a bit of a benefit of the doubt, I would say, until then.
yeah. It's very premature to talk about the end of the season yet. If we don't make playoffs, I do think some stuff might happen, but we still do have a shot to get in. Like I said, we're just a game or two out, and even though we're done with this stage, I believe
Yes,
there's still time for us to catch up.
yes. So until then, I hope the Spitfire enjoys the break. I hope they can rest, but also get in some really good practice in and really buckle down and start to turn it on. But I think that's all for Overwatch. We've rambled enough. Uh, so how about that Rift Rivals Frozen?
I actually did not watch the last game against Fnatic because I was with family, and once I heard what happened, I just said fuck it.
I
It
was
didn't even
working
sound
most
like it
of the
was worth
time,
watching.
so I was working most of the time, so I wasn't able to really watch most of the games. But looking at the results and hearing how the team played, it was not good. Um, and with the caveat that they were all extremely ill. Like Golden Glue had to go to the hospital, I believe. Sneaky was so sick that he could not play like the final day or the final 2 days, maybe. I still think that NA as a whole, but also C9 has shown a lot of issues that I'm hoping that they can at least work on after this Rift Rivals event.
Yeah, what kind of sucks about not being up to full strength is that we can't see what we would have looked like against them as like a full strength squad. Just because once you're full strength and you're trying your hardest, like you can look and go back and see what they did to beat you. But like if if Niski is playing ADC and Blabber's playing mid, or Svenskeren is playing ADC, like you kind of just say good luck, like,
Exactly.
and
There
like
there's
whatever
there's no
happens
room to
happens.
really there's no room to really judge. Especially with seeing like when you're that sick, I would imagine reflexes are off. You're just not able to maybe think straight or to perform to the caliber that you'd like. So it's very difficult to really judge on the team. I know myself, I've been critical of them recently with just overall decision making, as well as some players and how they have done things and how the team does things around them. It's just very hard. I can't really. I feel like I can't necessarily call it anyone in that instance. So it's very rough.
Yeah, the only person who showed up and seemed like they weren't sick was Niski. He had a couple good games, but even in those games, he still had a couple stinkers. He was going in on plays he shouldn't, like 1v3 or
And
one v four.
that's actually been my main criticism of Niski is that his decision making is actually pretty bad, and he will chase kills or he will go in and start fights when there was no reason to start those fights or no reason to extend those fights. And I think that's become a very big issue within Cloud9. And it's something that I think the team should seriously look into because it's gotten them into this really bad habit of how they play around each other and how they play the game out. I want a team that has really good, strong brains as well as brawn, but with how Niski plays, you're taking a lot of the brain out of it, and you're just saying like, no, no, we can fight, and then you lose the fight, and then it's just like, well, why did you do this? What happened? And I think that's something that does need to be talked about and considered with how they're doing things.
I'm not sure I 100% agree with that. I think from a coaching perspective, like you kind of want players who aren't afraid to make mistakes and like go in and try and start fights that they shouldn't, just because that's more of a learning experience than sitting back at tower and farming for 15 minutes and praying that you don't get dove. So it's easier to correct a mistake when you're making mistakes than when you're not trying to actively make mistakes and try new things. I do agree that there have been times in games where people have done some stupid shit, but I like to think that in the long run we're going to be better off for it than in the short the short run, just because like these are a lot of teachable moments that you can see our players making. Like, why did this fight go bad? Or was it a bad fight? Did you have a mechanical misplay? Did you go in too early, too late? Stuff like that to identify what you could have done to win that fight, or maybe just back off. Maybe yeah, that's the lesson. And I do go back to thinking about the one time that Reaper was talking about Iniski when he first came. He said something about like, and Iniski barely knows the game. He's still learning or something like that. Something along those lines. And then I think about it now, like he's making mistakes, but like he's learning the game in the process too.
I, you're very correct. You're right. They are teachable moments. I guess I suppose it's difficult to really see progress going from week to week. And maybe Niski has improved. It's hard to kind of pay attention to that bit specifically when you're bouncing around from different lanes. But I think the only thing I will say is I think it does need to be something that is at least monitored, because if it goes from they're making mistakes occasionally to becoming just a really bad habit that is constantly popping up, I think that does need to be regulated. Rupert is usually a good job at regulating this. Like as a head coach, say what you will sometimes about his drafts, and then he sometimes makes poor drafts, or the team and him are talked into making a poor decision in draft. How he manages the players and how he can teach up and build up a player is very good, and he has that talent to make someone better. So I think I guess he should just be keeping an eye out for that and making sure that this doesn't evolve into a bad habit rather than just a learning period.
Well, you're also right in the sense like if you keep bashing your head against a brick wall and it hurts every time, then stop doing it. Like that's
No,
also
yeah, exactly.
kind of a learning thing, and I think in some way both of us are right on both sides, but I also don't think it's all Niski either. I think it is a team thing too. So
No, exactly. It is a team thing, and I think that how the team coordinates is definitely different probably than what we saw last year at the end of the year, and I think that hopefully they can rise up and correct these mistakes rather than become governed by them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess I don't really have too much to add about riff rivals. I know I want to like rant and rave about how bad our drafts were and how bad pretty much every team played except Team Liquid sometimes. But like
Or even
it
Team
it
Liquid still got like crushed, which is
yeah,
the
but
weird
they did
thing.
win their best of 3 game, I think.
Yeah,
Or best of 5, oh whatever it is. I think that the only one who can come away from that and feel bad about themselves is TSM, because in our defense our entire team was sick and TSM just got their ass beat.
yeah. Well, we can move on to talking about what's in store for this weekend. Who do we
Probably
play? I
much
believe we
of the
play
same.
Team Liquid and someone else.
Clutch Gaming.
Okay, Clutch.
Team Liquid on
So
Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Clutch at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday.
okay, um, we can save the Team Liquid discussion for a bit later. We can talk about Clutch for right now. I think that Clutch is pretty beatable. Clutch is doing all right, but I think that how our players like our players versus their players, I think that ours are superior. Mistakes in sort of a down period aside, Licorice is still a beast in the top lane, and if we play Sven, which I think we definitely just should be, I think that we should be able to just sort of outsmart them in the early game. Cement our lead and then just win out from there. I think it'll be similar to kind of how like our games in the past against Clutch and like the CLG game a couple of weeks ago was, where it's you know we kind of have control of the game for the most part up until the end.
Yeah, I know I said this 2 weeks ago, but this is really not a game we should be losing. Excuse me. This is really not a game that we should be losing. Clutch Gaming really has not been that good all split. How they have 4 wins is beyond me. But Hooney's still Hooney, Lyra's still Lyra, but they haven't really looked like the Hooney in Lyra of last year or 2 years ago. So I think this is a game that we should be able to dominate from beginning to end.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
but
Um,
as we know, we won't.
yeah, we we say this now. We did get beaten by 100 Thieves.
Yeah, so I don't know.
We're gonna
Are
say
you
on
having
paper
a
this should
coughing
be a
fit?
free win.
Yeah, on paper.
On paper. The Team Liquid game, I gotta say, I'm not all that confident just because we in the past we have struggled to play against Team Liquid and beat them. Doublelift is Doublelift, and they have just this insane roster. Plus, we're coming off of being sick, which I'm not sure how like 100% the team will be come this Saturday. So I'm not ultimately confident with it. Plus, I think that the team like does some really weird stuff, specifically when playing Liquid. Like they'll do some things like where they're like kind of going even, or they'll do some stuff to like try to assert their dominance and try to put themselves like way ahead really early, and it'll backfire, and then we'll just end up losing to Liquid. So like their brains kind of go out the window or something. I don't know what happens, but I'm not 100% confident in this game.
I also would say I'm not very confident. Um, I just feel like Team Liquid is the best team. I mean, even after they sucked it up at the beginning of the year, they're still back in first place. So I think it's undoubted that they're the best team in North America right now, and I do think there are many universes where we beat them on Saturday. I just feel like the if I was a betting man, I would not bet in Cloud9's favor in this game. they just look too good overall, and I don't really like our odds coming off these sicknesses that sound like they were pretty rough actually.
Yeah, I agree. You know, when you have like double if Core JJ and Jensen, you know, plus Impact and X Smithy on one team, that's already kind of tough to beat. And I guess like you know using the time stone and looking through all the permutations, I think Cloud9 just maybe tries to win through making smart plays and trying to control the top half of the map like they've been doing. The only issue is that X Smithy can just come bot and help get double lift very far ahead. So if you're at a catch 22 whether you either stick to what you know your team is good at in babysitting the top half of the map, or you try to counter Team Liquid by making it so their strong side of the map doesn't get as far ahead when that's our weak side of the map currently. So it's very rough. I'm not sure how the team's going to play it. I'm hoping that we can at least have uh, a stable draft, so we don't have anything that's too one sided, and we just try to use our brains and make smart decisions.
I'm kind of I'll say that I'm kind of almost in a different mindset in the fact that I think that if we just face them um in just like a standard normal comp each way, like they should beat us 9 times out of 10, and that
Oh,
I
so
think
you're
our
saying you
path.
got to pull off the unexpected to surprise them?
I'm not saying like pull out like Zillion ADC and APZ mid or something. I'm just saying
Yes.
like,
Where is the RE 80 carry crit build?
yeah, I'm just saying pull out something. I mean, even if it's 80 twist twisted fate or something, which good god, it took them so long to ban that shit. It's like 80
Also the
twisted
Sivir
fate.
priority. We seem to be allergic to Sivir, even though she's like insanely good.
Yeah, but I think there's ways to work around that in any way. Like we've picked Sivir, but even when we sucked. Like it's
Right.
it's more than just picking Sivir. I think it'd be sweet. I forgot which patch they're on, but apparently there's a new Ash build out. I left League for 1 week, and there's a new Ash build. It's Essence Reaver Trinity Force, and I guess it's like super hard at 2 items, and I think that'd be sweet to see.
My only issue with that build is that Trinity is incredibly expensive. And if you don't spike at the right time with it, it really you really don't get as much value out of it as you should. That's my only issue with it. I've never been a fan of Trinity Force. I think it's maybe because I'm not that good of a player and I can't hit that spike at the right time, so I'm not really
That
doing all
might
that
be
much
it.
damage.
That might be it. No offense.
For
Although,
thank you for your brutal honesty, Frozen.
though, in this case, it's second item, I guess, on Ash. You build the Essence Reaver first, and then you go Sheen, and then you have the CDR from Sheen, I believe.
Oh right, and all that mana, so you can like constantly using ults and W's and whatnot.
Yes, it's you can W proc Sheen, and then in like 3 seconds, you can do that again. So I haven't actually seen it in person. I've just heard about it a couple hours ago that it's a thing, but it sounds kind of cool actually.
Yeah, it definitely does sound like a very interesting build. I'd have to see it in action. I've never seen it myself, but I do agree with you that I think that C9 maybe needs to throw in a curveball or two just to make sure that Team Liquid doesn't get something super favorable or something super standard that they're like, okay, we've run through this like thousands upon thousands of times. You know, let's just go do what we're so you know we're prepared for. So hopefully C9 can at least make it a very challenging match for Team Liquid instead of just getting rolled over.
Yeah, and I think even if Cloud9 won, it wouldn't be that big of an upset or a surprise. I just feel like Team Liquid is just kind of a juggernaut right now
Yeah,
in North America.
yeah.
So I
As
think
long
they
as
have to be
Double Lift
favored.
plays, as long as Double Lift plays and plays for them, I think they're just gonna stay as a really tough team because, as you know, and I've said this so many times, but as much as you can hate Doublelift. You have to recognize he is probably the best player in North America, and any team that has him, they will do like so much better.
Yeah, I mean that's unquestioned at this point. Even if that was a question going into his GSM days, which he proved everyone are wrong there too. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't think of anything else to really talk about.
no, I think that's about it. 4th of July is tomorrow, so I
Oh
guess
yeah,
have
get
a
some
good Fourth.
barbecue, watch some fireworks. It should be
If you're
super
old
fun.
enough, imbibe yourself with some beverages like Diet Coke.
Yes, drink all of the drink all of the. Oh, actually, hold up, Frozen. We just have some breaking news here.
Okay, I
Straight from
actually
Cloud
don't know what
Nine.
this is.
Cloud9 is back in the Fortnite game, and they're excited to announce a new team featuring three Brazilian players and an American player. So
Oh,
if
this was literally 25 sec.
yeah, this is literally like right
It was
now.
literally 5 seconds ago. All right,
Yeah,
so we're recording the episode. It's 2:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now, and this tweet came out, I guess, at 2:30 Eastern Standard Times. Okay. Um, I honestly didn't know that Fortnite esports is still a thing, so I'm glad that they're going all in for it.
I'm honestly kind of surprised considering how Epic has handled some of their events in the past. Like the events have been bad. They're like making patch changes like right before an event. I think there's maybe even been disputes of like people getting paid and some other issues for how they've run events in the past to where it's really soured me on the whole competitive Fortnite scene. I think that I was thinking that it was actually smart for C9 to just stay away from that and to go more into Apex and PUBG since they've been seem to be the more stable competitive battle royale scenes. But if they think that they should still be in Fortnite and do Fortnite things, hopefully we can see them actually do stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's all whatever to me. I think that the coolest part about it is that they are pulling in a Brazilian. Like maybe Jukes was kind of a test in some way, and maybe they found it is successful in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a brilliant move just in terms of if you want to increase your viewership. Um, Brazilian esports fans are extremely passionate, and a lot of players do have this really big fan base that you can leverage. So just from that angle, getting more Brazilian players is not a bad thing. If it means getting more fans and being able to sell more Cloud9 merch and to maybe get your foothold more into the Brazilian space, which is very big, and it's something I believe I said a year or two ago that it's something C9 should really break into.
Yeah, it seems they listened.
They've listened because I'm right, because I'm always right.
All right. Well, I guess that is about it then, right?
Right. Well, thanks for listening. Make sure to follow us at C9 Bodied. And I guess we'll see you later. Have a good 4th of July.
Yeah, have a good fourth, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.